What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jay Costa here. Today, I wanted to talk about a question that I've been hearing a lot lately, and that is now the right time to finally sell your home? In this video, I will share with you the top reasons why I think now is the best time to sell your home. I'll also share with you reasons why you may potentially not want to sell at this point, and I'll also give you my understanding and my thoughts on where the housing market is going from here. But first, before I get started, you guys, thank you so much for watching and clicking on this video. If you get any value or enjoyment out of this video at all, you know what to do. Please smash that like button down below. Also consider subscribing to our channel. If you did not know, my name is Jay Costa. I'm a real estate agent and investor here in northern New Jersey in Bergen County. And on this channel, we talk about the housing market for both buyers and sellers. We talk about investing, real estate investing, stock market investing, and as well as just general entrepreneurship. So if you have any interest about any of those topics at all, please consider subscribing. And now onto the video. So of course, as we have discussed in previous videos in the past, mortgage rates are now at 5.25%. That is over 2% of an increase since just the beginning of this year, 2022. Even with home prices staying at the same amount, that increases buyers' potential mortgage payment by 38%. This increase in rates decreases the buyer's purchasing power drastically. And in theory, that will lead to home prices going down. Now, home prices have not decreased at all just yet, but with rates rising so quickly and most people thinking that they're going to rise even further going forward, is now the perfect time as a home seller to cash out on this market on all-time high prices and finally sell your home. Well, we're going to get into that in this video. So first, here are the reasons why you should sell right now. Number one is obviously, as I stated, we are at all-time high home price levels. Even with rates rising so quickly, home price levels have not decreased at all. Historically speaking, mortgage rates increasing do not affect home price levels right away. It could take some time for home prices and home values to go down once the flood of FOMO buyers is out of the market, which is what we have been seeing. So now could potentially be the perfect time to sell if you are trying to time the market. Number two is buyers' purchasing power is decreasing rapidly. As I stated, the average buyer's mortgage rate has increased just because of these interest rate hikes by 38%. That affects the buyer's monthly payment drastically. And we live in a world now where buyers are living month to month. So most buyers look at what the monthly expense would be on a home that they're looking to buy and not so much the total sales price. And with a decrease of 38% in purchasing power, home prices will decrease in the future if things stay how they are now. Number three is economic uncertainty. With the stock market recently faltering, with inflation issues, with Russia-Ukraine issues, oil prices, as well as a potential recession that everyone keeps talking about looming over us, there's a lot of uncertainty and potential headwinds that the housing market and just the economy in general has going forward. That uncertainty may lead us into a potential recession because simply we see it happening already. Credit gets tighter, people spend less, and all of a sudden the earnings from companies are not nearly as strong as they have been the last 2 years. Number four, great reason to sell is if you already have a place to move to. If you already have a second home that you're planning on moving to, you should probably very strongly consider selling your home right now. The reason for that is because honestly, I talk to a lot of potential sellers out there, and I have talked to a lot of people that want to sell and want to move, but they have no place to move to. This was already a major issue the past couple years with inventory so low. Potential sellers were afraid that, yeah, they could sell their home at a very high price, but they'd also have to go buy a home at a very high price. That's if they could even get an offer accepted at all. The recent interest rate hikes have only made this situation worse because now you have potential sellers that may have even wanted to move or may still want to move, but right now they're paying 3% on a 30-year mortgage. If they were to sell it, even though they're selling for a high price, and even if there's more inventory in the future going forward, maybe in the summer, they'd have to take a mortgage out for over 5%. So their monthly mortgage payment, even if they're spending less on the total purchase price, their monthly mortgage payment would most likely be higher than where they were coming from. So if you already have a place to move to, that completely negates that issue completely for you, and you may definitely want to consider taking advantage of this market by selling the home. Now, this may not be for everybody. These are the reasons why you may not want to sell your home right now. Number one, demand may not be going anywhere for a while. Obviously, all we talk about and all we hear about in the housing market recently is, of course, the difference in the supply and demand. There's just way too many buyers and way too few houses for sale. And even with buyer demand being dampened by the interest rates, we still are thinking, generally speaking, that buyers demand will still outweigh the supply going forward. That's because millennials, from COVID finally saw the value in purchasing homes. And right now, the average millennial age is 33 years old. That is peak buying time. You figure that even more and more millennials, the ones that have not found a home yet, are still going to be looking to purchase a home as their family grows and things like that going forward. Millennials are the biggest generation in this country. So that is a lot of pent up potential demand to purchase homes into the future. Number 2 is interest rates. As I stated, one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest headwinds that sellers are seeing right now, that I'm seeing with sellers, is the fact that if they were to sell their house, they're paying probably about 3% on their monthly mortgage right now on the home that they live in right now. If they were to sell that house and buy something else, they'd be replacing that 3% mortgage with a 5% mortgage. Even just mentally, that is a huge hurdle to overcome. So even if you sell it for top dollar, someone pays a premium for your home, you're going to be paying for that premium in your interest rate in your next home. Number 3 is all-time high rent. Rent has never been this high in the history of the country. So even if you didn't want to purchase a home after you sell and you wanted to go rent, you're paying a premium on the rent. And as we all know, rent, you obviously are not paying down equity in any which way. So your interest rate is 100% on the rent, as they say. Number 4 is inflation. Inflation is now at 8.5% per year. So even if the housing market takes a slight dip or a slight correction, it still may be one of the safest places to put your money. Because if it's just sitting in a bank, we all know it's losing, as of right now, 8.5% every 12 months. So where does the housing market go from here? Well, I definitely do see a downturn by the end of this year, 2022, and if not by then early next year, 2023. I definitely think that we're going to see a lot more new listings by this summer coming onto the market as sellers that maybe already have a second home or have a place to move to already try to cash out on this market once they see and once it's obvious that the housing market and home prices are not going to continue going up 15% every single year. That's obviously unsustainable. But this downturn will not be that drastic in my view, because even with buyer demand being dampened by the high interest rates that we're seeing currently, we still have a long way to go in order to catch up on the supply end to the demand end. So if demand is up here and supply is down here, even if you bring demand down a bit and supply up a bit, you still have a long way to go to have that even healthy housing market. And we're still nowhere near close to that. And we're still very far away from having a buyer's market on the other side. So my advice to you is this: don't try to time the market. Just like anything else, stock market, housing market, it's very difficult to almost impossible to try to time anything out. And have a long-term horizon, whether you're a seller or a buyer. That way you can ride out the waves of some sort of downturn that we may be seeing coming up. If you're a seller, I would definitely make sure you have a place to move into already, like if it's a second home or something like that. And if you don't, you could always make the sale of your home contingent on you finding another home to purchase. But if you are looking to sell your home and try to purchase something after that, don't be completely afraid of the higher interest rates. I know it sucks that the guy 2 or 3 months ago paid 3% on their mortgage, but rates are still relatively low historically. And just because you get a mortgage for 30 years at a certain rate doesn't mean you're always going to be paying that rate. If rates come down in the future, let's say 3 to 5 years from now, you could always refinance the house and get into a lower interest rate loan. Another piece of advice is don't overextend yourself on something that you're purchasing. Separate the emotion from the common sense and make sure you get a 30-year fixed rate loan that you could make sure that you can always budget for and pay for. And don't go with an adjustable rate mortgage. Stick with the 30-year amortized loan. You want to make sure your numbers work and your budget works with that 30-year loan. That way you could solidify your financial future. And if the housing market and home prices take a drop, you don't care because your mortgage payment will be the same. And as long as you have a long-term horizon, you'll be okay. You could wait it out and move in the future. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Where do you see the housing market going from here? If you're a potential seller that has been on the fence, are you finally considering selling the home? And if you are, what is your plan for your next home? Are you going to go purchase a home, or are you going to rent and see where the housing market goes from here before you make a final decision on a purchase? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.